Hi, my name is Maria Five. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are talking about Owen King's The Curator. But before that, we have some makes and takes. So the first of all, I want to go back to last session where I was wearing this top and the shoulder kept slipping down, and I just wanted to show you how I fixed that. So this is a strip of elastic that's just been zigzag stitched into it, but it's got a little strip of rubber in there, so it's gripping, and that shoulder, both of those shoulders actually don't slip down anymore. This shirt that I'm wearing now is it's a blouse, and it's, I don't know if I can it's pretty airy, it's very loose. These sleeves are epic. I don't know if you can see, but they are really, really epic. They are super long and super flowy, and yeah, they're very impractical. So I have done a single stitch just to take up that raw hem, because if there's one thing I really don't like, it's raw hems. So this is just a single. So I will either do a double stitch like so, like I did at the bottom here. This is just a double stitched hem, so there are no raw edges showing. And so yeah, I could actually create a channel and slide an elastic through to make it gathered, or I could do a gathered cuff and make a cuff that way so that they're not so big. I mean, you couldn't wear this to work. It's really impractical. You can't really move and pick things up, but for everyday wear, why not, right? As long as I'm not trying to do dishes in them. So yes, a very pretty summer top. And this is actually because of my sister, because I bought this fabric and I was going to make a skirt, and then I wasn't going to make a skirt. And I was talking to my sister and she suggested a top. So the other make is these earrings. These are one of the very first, probably the very first pair of earrings I ever made. The first thing I ever made was actually this, which, I don't know if you can see it, it's an ear cuff. It's got one of those purple miracle beads in there and some moons, and yeah, I don't even know why I made a cuff. They're not in, but there we are. Maybe I'll stick it in my ear. There we go. So they were really huge in the 80s, and yeah. They're coming back, actually. You can buy them again, which I find really humorous. But this was the very first thing I made, and these earrings were the first pair of earrings I ever made. But since then, I'm sure, well, I know for a fact I've made hundreds of them, because Amazon keeps track of how often you order things. I know for sure I've made hundreds and hundreds of pairs of earrings. But hey, they're a good time. Yes, the tea today, I saved the package. It's Zante Holiday Blend Tea. So I was gifted this tea just this past Christmas and fell in love with it. It's a black tea, and it's got cherry and notes of strawberry in it, and it just, oh my gosh, it just has this heavenly, heavenly smell. But a black tea. And check this out. I don't even think I can rotate it without spilling the tea, but a new cup from my friend Shannon for my birthday. It was my birthday, and yes, an absolutely gorgeous cup. And I'm just going to go through a little highlight of my birthday lunch. And here we are on my birthday lunch. We are cruising on the Prairie Lily in Saskatoon. Wonderful lunch. These are the views from the top deck. There's the Besborough Hotel, and then up towards Spadina. Great experience. And now we'll get on to the book. The Curator by Owen King. And this book was published in 2023, so quite recent. Owen King, he is the son of Stephen King. Now, Stephen King has he's written 68 novels, so not that, I mean, a lot, yes, but I mean, a lot of authors have written an awful lot more than that. And he's worth $500 million. If you can imagine, $500 million. but his books they've all gone into many, many printings. Most of his books have been made into movies. Everybody knows the name Stephen King. Stephen King is a household name. So, yeah. So Owen King, I don't know. Perhaps you would expect really good things from him. I'm sure I did. This is his third book, by the way. He has 2 other books previous to. And I'm going to spoil the ending for you. So if you are planning on reading this book, perhaps don't watch the rest of this because I will be spoiling the ending, just so you know. That's my disclaimer. Okay, so Stephen King, I think, is a really good writer, very relatable. Owen King, he is an amazing writer as far as words go. He has a huge, amazing command of the English language. He writes, and it's dancing, it's lyrical, it's poetry. He definitely knows his way around the English language. There is no doubt. However, and you knew this was coming. However, story-wise, not so much. There are, I won't say rules, there aren't any rules. Nothing is hard and fast. But there is a general accepting of how to write a novel. You introduce the character, have the setting, so that the reader knows where they're at, they know where they're standing, and then you need a hook. You need to somehow bring us in so that we want to turn the page. We want to find out what happens. So that's the general premise, and then you go back and you do a bit of backstory, what's gone on to lead up to this event that has hooked you in, and then you carry on. Now, a lot of authors, especially these days, go this back, forth, which I personally, this is just my opinion, but I personally find really annoying. It never adds to, it always takes away from the actual story. I'm not a fan of it. This is me. I'm not a publisher. I'm not anything. I'm just a library technician, but I don't think it adds anything to the story. If anything, it tends to confuse people. And I mean, I don't know how many books I've read. I've read a lot of books, and there's a lot of books up in my head. There's a lot of books going on, and I've never found a book where it adds to. I mean, the only possible exception might be The Time Traveler's Wife by Audrey Niffenegger, and it was brilliant. And I think you actually did need that because it's back and forth in time, as Henry does. He goes back and forth in time, and I don't know how, we're maybe a third of the way through the story before they actually finally come together in real time, not this going back and forth. And I mean, I think that's significant, and I think that's maybe one of the only times where I've thought, yes, it works. It's hard reading, but it works, and you just need to read the date on top of every single chapter to keep in your brain the timeline of what's going on. But it is a very effective tool, and it works. Most other authors, I won't agree with that. And yeah, maybe there's another time later on when that little flashback to a previous event could be useful. But as an author, I feel like you could do better. You could. That's just my opinion. Okay, so we have Dee, otherwise known as Dora, and she is, I don't know what she is. She's started off as upper class. So there are two classes in this book. So there's the upper and the lower. There's 2 religions, the upper religion, the lower religion. Like there's lots of segregation. I shouldn't say some. There's lots of segregation. There's lots of like, oh, those people, the commons, they're so filthy, blah, blah, blah. Not that they have the chance to rise above it, but that's how it is. And I get it. I mean, that part is actually really well done. So Dora starts off as middle class. Her brother dies of cholera. And so, okay. And then her parents die of cholera. Okay. And then she's left with nothing in the house, and all the goods are sold off to pay, I don't know what, some sort of bills or something. And so she's left literally destitute. Yeah, so she's So she's obsessed with finding Ambrose, what really happened, and what the real circumstances were. He is involved in a magical society, and she's always curious, but she's too young. She doesn't really understand the circumstances, perhaps, and so she's a little obsessed with that. So that's her story. Then we have Robert, Bobby, who is her lover. He's higher up. There's this big revolution going on, and he was a student, but now he's part of the Revolutionary Army. And there's no romance there, I think. And he says and thinks that he appreciates Dora much more than she appreciates him. And that's true. It comes along later in the story that yes, she likes that she can tell him what to do, and he does it. There's no respect on her part for him. I think it's convenient. It's just one of those things. That's great. But yeah, there's no real romance there. And then there's Ike. Ike is a character that's he's a quick boy, and there are quick girls and quick boys, and I feel like these people are pickpockets, thefts, and so they have to be quick with their hands. Maybe it never really goes into it, and at first I thought maybe it was like a little a bit of a reverse psychology, that maybe they're a little bit, but no, because the quick girl is and they probably have names, but I don't remember what the names are. They're pretty minor characters, but yes, you can tell she has definitely some intelligence going on. Anyway, Ike is a quick boy, and he is a thief that's how he makes his living, off the streets, has been taken in, living above a bar. Yeah, we're not exactly sure what's going on with him. But anyway, he is obsessed with Dora, like really obsessed with her, and has gotten to the point where he's stolen himself an outfit. He's stolen an outfit for Dora, and he's stolen her a ring, and he's about to propose marriage to her. So Ike is this really interesting character. He has lots of romantic ideals, and he has this way of saying, "This Ike." And it's not Ike, it's this Ike. You just ask this Ike, believe in this Ike, trust in this Ike, which I think is a very cute, just character, a little bit of a character anomaly. Sometimes characters will have, a catchphrase that they always say, like Lucy from Charlie Brown is always going, "You blockhead." That's her phrase. Nobody else uses that, just Lucy. And so this is this Ike. I just thought that was really cute. Yeah, so that was really good. But after that, there's just this chaos. There's no chronological real, one thing leads to another, It's very chaotic. There's a bit of a story as to what's going on, but it's really, really not well put together at all. There's the Revolutionary Army. They're taking over the government. There's the government army, and they are coming in and trying to invade the city, but you never really know what's going on. It's very confusing, and I'm not sure it really adds to much, except that there are a lot of abandoned places that are being pillaged or ransacked, and there's lots of thievery going on. Yeah, it's very confusing as to what goes on. There is this magical society that is across the street from where she's decided she wanted this place. So she took this place, except that it was mostly burned down, so now she can't have this place. So then she was given by Robert, whoever in this renegade army, he's now given her a place, the museum for the worker. So now she's running, or at least the Museum of the Worker. And it's a bunch of wax figures, workers in different aspects of the working person, the working man, the working woman. But yeah, it doesn't add anything. It doesn't lend anything. We're not really sure why all of this is going on. She sneaks away to this magic museum or house of magic, and it's she's gone for 3 days. She goes into this little coma or trance, and she's gone for 3 days. And we only know that because there's a guy right beside her. And this guy is I don't know, pure evil. Just everyone and anyone that comes to this what used to be the embassy comes in, and he murders after torturing them. And we only gather that from all the goings on that happen at night. We hear the screams, we hear the, I didn't do it, or why me, why. It's all very inferred. It's not really until the very end. And there isn't even a need for this. We're never told why it's happening. We never, yes, okay, he has a screw loose. We figured that part out, but we don't know why. We don't really know anything. There's so many loose ends to this. So many. You have far more questions than you ever had before after reading this novel. Douglas Adams wrote A Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and it's a trilogy in 5 parts, I think. 6 parts? Anyway. And there's lots of chaos. There's lots of going on, but 42 is the answer. 42 is the meaning of life, the universe, and everything. And at least we have that. Whereas with the curator, she's the curator. She curates this wax museum, but there is so much gratuitous death. There's just, we never really know what's going on. And then at the very end, after everything is said and done, Robert has left. He is, he's dead. He was killed by the embassy dude after this big long, she didn't want him to go. She wrote him a note. He didn't get it. Yeah. Anyway, so he ends up passing away, dying, probably quite brutally, but we're never really told all the details of that. And there is lots of details, actually. Like, everyone who comes to visit the embassy is offered a cup of sweetened coffee. And we know it's drugged. Because it's gone through a couple times as you've read it, you figure it out. Okay, this is drugged coffee. And then that's when all the torture begins. But why? What is really going on? There are so many questions you were left with. Anyway, so at the end, he is this moving person through spirits that have taken over the wax figures. That's also another long thing. And again, we're never really told why. But this happens. So Robert is off. I assume he's going off to his parents' big mansion somewhere out in the hills, away from the city, away from all this strife. But, and then there's this Ike who never really gets to propose to Dee, is in love with her, will do anything for her. And yet, they don't end up together, and we never really know what happens to him. It's just this, and then Dee goes off and tries and ends up following and finding Robert. Very disappointing read. And there's no denouement, there's no real ending to the book. It's just sort of left you. And again, sometimes that's a really good literary device. Sometimes you want to keep thinking about it, but this has just got so many loose ends and so many questions. So, I don't know. This is just my opinion. And if you do choose to read it, please let me know, comment, and we'll go from there. So, please please subscribe, and we will see you next Saturday. Thank you so much for joining me. Bye-bye.